Namo Adidava. Thanks so much for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This wonderful sound calls us back to our true home. The third mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I vow to cultivate responsibility and learn ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society. I'm determined not to engage in sexual relations without love and a long-term commitment. To preserve the happiness of myself and others, I'm determined to respect my commitments and the commitments of others. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. For our Dharma lessons, we've been reading More Than Mindfulness, Widening the Field of Practice by the Monastics of the Thai Forest Sangha. And today we're beginning a new talk by Ajahn Ahimsako called Returning the Light. Within our Buddhist tradition, it is believed that the Buddha offered his first discourse on the full moon of July. This teaching is referred to as the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the teaching on the Four Noble Truths. In this teaching, it says that there is dukkha, and one of the most common translations of dukkha is suffering. I found it to be very difficult to come to terms with this translation myself. To me, at least, suffering is an intense level of pain. For myself, I tend to use other English words for dukkha. For example, stress, which is a word commonly used in society. I also find unsatisfactoriness to be very helpful, especially when you hear someone say that even getting everything you want is dukkha. How does that work? How is getting everything you want stressful? But on reflection, when we use the word stress or unsatisfactoriness, it can start to make sense. The traditional formulation of the Four Noble Truths is as follows. The first noble truth, there is dukkha, suffering, dissatisfaction, dis-ease, stress. The second noble truth, there is a cause and origin of dukkha. It doesn't just manifest out of nowhere. There is actually a cause. The third noble truth, there is a cessation, an ending to dukkha. It's not a permanent experience. It can and does cease. The fourth noble truth is laying out the path leading to the cessation of dukkha. You could possibly spend a lifetime reflecting on this simple formulation. There's another formulation in a lovely book called Gifts He Left Behind, which contains short teachings by Lungpo Aduna, a Thai monk who died in 1983, living to the ripe old age of 95. There's one particular reflection that he offered to another monk in which he summarized the Four Noble Truths. Over the years, I've heard many references made to this short teaching, and it has always stood out to me. The mind sent outside is the origin of suffering. The result of the mind sent outside is suffering. The mind seeing the mind is the path. The result of the mind seeing the mind is the cessation of suffering. You can see that Lungpo Aduna changed the traditional order with the second noble truth first, then the first, fourth, and lastly the third. As we were sitting in meditation this evening, a phrase arose in my mind from Master Hua, who was the founder and abbot of the City of 10,000 Buddhas, or CTTB, a Chinese Buddhist monastery near here. Just before he died, he gifted half of the land, which is now Abhayagiri Monastery. It was a great gift, and we have a very close relationship with CTTB. A phrase that I've been told Master Hua used, and is sometimes used by his disciples, is, return the light. Recently, I've been reflecting on those two phrases. The mind sent outside is the origin of suffering. And then, this other phrase that I just mentioned, return the light. So what does that mean? The mind sent outside. Using those words as a reflective tool, I ask myself, where is my mind going, and why is it doing that? What came up for me is that when my mind loses its center, when my mind goes outside of its peaceful stillness, when it starts to inhabit the things that I see, hear, smell, taste, touch, or think, perceptions relating to the six sense bases, then my mind has been sent outside. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Namo Adidafa. Thanks so much for joining me today.